strong GPA, weak GRE, GRE-optional cycle. Not submitting seems obvious, but there is something a committee sometimes quietly wonders when they see that. And understanding what that question is and how your application can answer it is the most practically useful thing in this video, because the question a committee asks when they see a strong GPA with no GRE is not accusatory, but it is real, and an application that answers it clearly is one completely different than one that leaves the question unanswered. In a GRE optional admission cycle, not submitting a score is a choice that committees notice. For most applicants with weak scores, not submitting is clearly the right decision. A score would raise more concerns than it resolves is better withheld. But for applicants with a strong GPA and no submitted score, a committee sometimes asks a specific question. Why did this applicant choose not to submit? Is the GPA the full picture of their academic capability, or is there something the GPA is not showing? That question is not a judgment. It is a data gap. And data gaps create uncertainty, and uncertainty creates hesitation. So, here is exactly how your application answers that question, and why the answer has nothing to do with whether you submit the GRE. The hidden committee question about a strong GPA with no GRE score is essentially this: does this applicant's academic performance reflect genuine intellectual and professional capability? Or does the GPA reflect grade inflation, course selection strategy, or effort without underlying reasoning capacity that graduate training requires? That is not a comfortable question, but it is an honest one. And the way to answer it is not with a standardized test score. It is with every other piece of your application: your writing quality, the sophistication of your reasoning, the depth of your observation reflection, your interview performance. Those pieces together answer the question the missing GRE raises. Here is specifically what each piece of your application needs to demonstrate to answer that question convincingly. Your personal statement needs to demonstrate graduate level reasoning, not just graduate level aspiration. The difference is whether you analyze your experiences professionally or just describe it emotionally. Analysis demonstrates the intellectual capacity that committees are quietly talking about. Description does not. Your observation descriptions need to connect what you saw with the clinical science that you have studied in school underlying it. That connection demonstrates the scientific reasoning capacity that the quantitative part of the GRE was supposed to signal. Your interview needs to demonstrate that you can hold complexity, reason through ambiguity, and communicate professionally under a little bit of pressure. That demonstration answers the verbal and reasoning questions simultaneously. And there's one more scenario worth addressing directly, because it changes the calculus for some applicants. If your GRE scores are genuinely strong, verbal above 155, quantitative above 150, submitting them in a GRE optional cycle can do something specific for your application. It preemptively answers the hidden question. A strong GPA paired with a strong GRE scores creates a coherent academic picture that requires no interpretation. The committee does not need to wonder. The evidence answers the question before it's ever formed. For applicants with genuinely strong scores, the GRE optional is an opportunity to choose strategically, not an automatic instruction to withhold. The decision framework is actually pretty simple. If your scores were to raise more questions than it answers, do not submit. If the questions, answer instead with the questions on the application with great quality. If your scores would answer the hidden question a committee might ask before it forms, consider submitting it. Let the coherent academic picture do the work. Now, if you are genuinely uncertain which category you are in, that uncertainty is the answer. Focus on building an application quality that answers the question regardless of what you submit. My school community, OT Student Leveled Up, is a place where all the students come and learn about application strategy. You also can have direct sessions with me, and both links are found in the description. We'd love to see you there.